What's up, everyone? Just getting loaded right now, actually. I can't take out the camera right now, but when I can, I should be able to show you. Right now, we're getting loaded with a skid steer, 16 yards of base. Uh, need to pull forward. So I drive transfer trucks. Uh, one sec. Yeah, I drive transfer trucks. That's basically a dump truck attached with a trailer. Um, it carries roughly about 20 yards, 24 to 25 tons, really depending on the truck that I'm driving. Um, it's because it's based on weight. So this one can take almost 26 tons because it's so light. The other one that we have is the Peterbilt. This one's in international. Yes, I know. International, blah, blah, blah. But it gets the job done. The other one's a Peterbilt. That one's heavier, but it can only take 24 tons if you're actually a little lower on fuel than you should be. But for the most part, 23 and a half. And right now we're taking 16 yards. Depending on what the material is, a yard weighs from like wood chip and compost and stuff that, really doesn't weigh anything. Could be 400 pounds per yard, even less. But right now, base, which is recycled road base, crushed concrete, really what it is, um, that weighs about 1.2 tons per yard. So we're taking 16 yards right now. Um, I see a lot of over the road stuff. I see a lot of, uh, long haul drivers. I don't really see local transfer truck drivers. Um, I like the fact that I can go home every night. I have a set schedule. If you can tell, it's for Blue Rock Materials. Um, right now, still waiting to get loaded. Um, right now, we're going to go ahead and drive maybe 15 miles. Traffic sucks. It's in Southern California. There's no getting around it. Um, but we're in the Inland Empire, so it's a lot easier as far as, uh, the restrictions that most people have, like, you can't go through these routes. Basically, because we are a local delivery, we deliver to homes and businesses, mostly to homes and contractors that are working on their projects. Um, they let us go through, residential streets because we have to, unless we have like a helicopter, which. Um, But yeah, right now we're going to go ahead and get loaded, take off. We usually start at 7 a.m. I'll admit it. I'm always just a little late. Um, but that's because we're always busy anyway. We can't really take off before that. Um, so most of the time we drop off material on the way back. We'll hit up a quarry. We'll hit up another rock yard. We'll hit up another location or a crusher to pick up material on the way back to make it worth it. Sometimes we're not close enough and it's just go drop off and come back, get loaded, do it again. Um, I should have just loaded myself. So yeah, when we get here, we get loaded by a skid steer. We get loaded by, uh, they have a half yard bucket and a full yard bucket. I think he's on his way out now. Yeah. So yeah, that's some of the material here. That's mostly wood chips. That's mostly bark, mulch, gorilla hair. That's our skid steer. They have a half yard bucket and a full yard bucket. And for the most part, we get loaded with a 4 yard bucket unless someone asks for like, I need 16 and a half yards, 10 and a half yards. The great part about a transfer truck is that I can take two materials at once without mixing because there are two boxes. But we do have a minimum in order to take you two materials. It has to be like at least 5 and 5 to make it worse than that. But at that point, it's just better getting the delivery of what you actually need. Yeah, so we shall take off now. Everything's good. Set to go. Oh, I guess we're not set to give me 1 second. ¿Y el de las 16 yardas? Sí. But it's different places, better than being stuck behind a computer. But, oh, oh, okay, está bien. Listo, gracias. All right. So now we're good to go. Where was I? Yeah, I mean, I get to see different places. Um, I generally listen to like rock, metal, um, really almost anything. So it goes anywhere from like Drake to, I don't know, Korn, Avenged Sevenfold, um, Gorillas. So it just really depends on the mood, I guess you can say. But yeah, you start getting bored of listening to so much music. You start trying to have a conversation in your head, and I mean, one isn't so much great company. So I guess I'm doing this so you guys kind of have an inside look. If you guys want to become transfer truck drivers, we're hiring, we're training. Um, it's easy as far as what you need up here, but it's mostly draining and exhausting if you don't like to drive, if you don't like traffic, if you can't sit alone, if you can't be alone. Um, I think I finished everything on Netflix. I think I finished everything on Amazon. Finished everything on anything I can think of. So Now you guys are stuck with me. Come along for the ride. Check it out. I'll get a chest strap thing so you guys can see firsthand of what I'm doing. Because I know one hand I can't really do much if I'm recording with one and trying to disconnect a trailer with the other. But yeah. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. Right now I'm alone. Right now I'm talking to myself, but it'll be fun. All right. Enjoy. So we might lose signal at this little strait. I don't know why. Maybe we're between towers, and that's probably why we lose signal. But so far, everything looks good. That's one of our smaller trucks coming by. That one can take about 5 yards. And that's one of our contract drivers. Like he literally only comes when there's a delivery for that, but that's about it. That one's too small to pick up anything. It's just residential deliveries when they need 5, even 6, depending on the material. Like I said, 6 yards, we can go ahead and deliver in that small one. The truck I have, it's it's a semi truck with a dump truck put together. It's pretty much like that. That's coming up, but that's a flatbed. Instead of that flatbed, it's a big ass box, and then with a trailer attached to it. So this truck is older. It is a little bit more run down. So going down the hill, this one is fast. On a plane, flat plane, it's decent. Anything with a slight, you know, grade going up, hope and pray that you don't miss a gear because if not, you are going to be crawling. So right now we like to cruise at 55. Uh, You mean the legal limit? And yeah, we just keep it going. Around here, depending on the time, it could be 55 or it could be 5. So as we get closer to the interchange, the like 60, 215 interchange, that's when it gets a little tied up. So on the camera, it kind of looks like I'm hugging the left lane, which not really. So my idea is to stream, at least every other day, if not every day. I'll test out, different mounts to see how it works. How I'll let you know what some tricks and tips are. But for the most part, it's pretty straightforward. You drive, you get loaded, you drive back, you drop off. It's not very, like I said, it's not very difficult, but the pay is good. The hours are great. Um, I get to see my kids every day. I get to see my wife every night. And yeah, start early, finish around 4 or 5 o'clock. Sometimes even a little bit earlier if uh, the quarries aren't open or anything and there's no deliveries. But we try to stay open as much as we can. Um, I do all the driving for this location. We do have other drivers for the other locations. Uh, I do handle the social media, you make the website, you make all the other stuff. So I do all the technical side, and that's how I started off actually here. I started helping them with, their website, and then I got bored since I had not much to do, recording some videos, some drone footage. Then I was like, hey, let me get on the small truck and, go make some deliveries, even because it's only a Class C that's needed anyway. And then I started bumping it up. All right, let's do the slightly bigger truck and the dump truck or the Super 10, and then let's try the transfer truck. So what I would say that the hardest part about a transfer truck, it is definitely easier than a 53-foot box truck, because I can make easier turns, easier corners. You don't have to open up as wide since it is an independent trailer with its individual kingpin. I can get into tighter spaces. But that being said, backing up with these, if you're in a straight line, I can do it all day, every day. If there's light turns and it's wide enough, I can do that as well. But anything after you made a turn, and you look like, oh, I can't, see an exit. I need to back up and leave. Nah, that's not going to happen. The way the transfers work, it's pretty much impossible to do that. I mean, I've seen it done. It's not impossible, but for every one that I've seen done, I've seen like 10, 20, 30 of the trucks fail and fall over and drop all their material and destroy their drawbar. Not pretty, but that's why you always look at the address. You get on, satellite view, look at potential places where you can go through, where you can go through. Look at the house and the street view so you can see where you would be dropping off. If the ground is to be level, it's not even better, a slight decline because the transfer of the, second box is just gravity and air. And it's on, it's an air powered system and, air runs out of the tanks. And if you didn't have enough, oomph, it's not going to make it into the box. You have to pull out a different cable, attach the hose, build up some more air, and hopefully it works the second time. But to avoid all that, stick to a flat location, transfer somewhere where it's flat, even if it's like a little bit out of your way, especially once you've been doing this for a bit, you kind of remember, hey, this is where I would usually transfer, or this is where I would stop and disconnect. But for the most part, you can disconnect, usually in front of their house. There's usually enough space. But if not, then you're kind of spending another few minutes driving around the neighborhood and seeing where you can disconnect. So yeah, like I said, you get out, you have a little bit of a distraction from your day to day stuff. So bring snacks, bring water, bring food if you can, because usually you can't really find good places to eat where you can park your truck and go have some food other than like a truck stop. And the truck stops out here don't really offer the greatest food. Um, yeah, that's another thing. It's try not to gain weight as a driver, dude, because it'll happen. Even though you're not stuck behind a desk, you're still pretty much sedentary until, you get up and get out of the truck, get down, which is a little bit more than you do in an office, but not by much. So if we can start kind of sketching out or losing signal, it's probably because we drive next to an air base out here and messes with the reception. So hopefully it doesn't. This is our maiden voyage, and the lovely streets of this freeway are trash. That's good for you. And the beautiful traffic stops all of our progress. So in the afternoons, this place is stopped. And then you look around like, what's the problem? Is there an accident? No. I guess it might be. We shall see. So this is what I mean. I have a lot of free time. So you guys see where it says stay back 300 feet. We're not responsible for broken windshields. Um, you can put whatever you want on your truck. It doesn't mean it makes it true. But yeah, we're not responsible if it falls. I mean, not if it falls. If something breaks your window because we ran over a rock and that's called a road hazard, we're not responsible. We try to avoid stuff in the street. If you're too close, tires is going to go ahead and pop it up. That's why we have our mud flaps. Not so much for mud itself, but for rocks and stuff, because the treads on the tires are a lot, bigger. So rocks can get stuck there. You launch that up, even a small pebble that'll do damage to your windshield. I myself, before I started driving, used to be one of the people where I was like, these truckers don't know what they're doing. Why are they so slow? Jumping in front of them, cutting them off, flipping them off when, they're not going fast enough or they're going too fast, whatever the reason is. But, yeah, once you drive a mile in someone else's shoes, you kind of, you get the perspective and you realize that you cut off a truck that weighs 80,000 pounds. Probably not the best idea. We had a few instructors that would tell you if they cut you off, they kind of made their own choice. If you could stop, stop, but you're not going to go swerve out of the way and endanger other people, endanger yourself just because somebody decided they were impatient. And I mean, at first I was like, dang, that's harsh, but at the same token, you kind of realize like, yeah, why would I, oh, I've got to avoid this guy who just cut me off and I, turn into a family or a family van that had nothing to do with this whole issue. And now I just hurt somebody who didn't need to be hurt. And the guy who cut me off just keeps driving, on his phone, screwing off, but that's not cool. Yeah, we keep a big distance between ourselves because we need time to stop, not because we want cars to go in between us. So the other thing is when you're merging onto the freeway, please do not pace the trucks. Please. You can accelerate better than we can accelerate or stop. So generally we keep the same pace. We go 55. Some go a little bit faster, some go a little bit slower, some will even like see the car, see the person, which I'm one of those. I see the person on their phone. I'm staring at them. I don't have an out to go left or, merge into the other lane so I can go ahead and give them that space and leisure that they're, screwing off on their phone. But, just a quick little honk kind of wakens you up and then they freak out. Sometimes they have a good 20 feet on me that they can merge and then you see them stop and pull to the side, get into the emergency lane and like you start flipping me off like, dude, you had enough space. You're driving a 2020 and it's usually not to hate or anything. You're driving a Prius, which does have a little bit of a pep to it and you're going already 65 miles an hour. You're going to keep going. But I even pull off a little bit and like even, tap my brakes a little bit just so I can give you even more time to merge. But then the worst part is you merge and you stay in front of the truck and now I have to stop, shift down a bunch of times. Now I'm causing traffic for the guys behind me. Now the trucks that are behind me are going to be slowing down and it takes us forever. And, no lie, check this out. Look who just popped up in front of us. Yep. And he came out of nowhere. He just I don't know how he came from the right. There's no merging lane on the right hand side at the moment. But yeah, it's an older guy. Nothing against older people or anything, but pay more attention. And I get it because when I started driving, I mean, speed limit's always been 65 here in California, but it was more enforced. Like going 70 was a little, excessive and you could still get pulled over. Now you're driving 80 miles per hour and you might get pulled over. But as long as you don't crack 82, you should be fine. And if they started driving in 1955, 1965, whatever year they started driving, when the freeway used to be 50 miles an hour. I mean, just think about it this way. Back to the Future, 88 miles per hour was a fast car, and that could get you into the future or back to the past. I'm sorry. So I get it. You get older, your reflexes slow down. I mean, pay attention. And then the young ones are worse. They think they're unstoppable. And like I said, I used to be one of those. I used to cut those cars off. I was cutting people off in a Dodge Caliber SRT4. Fast little car, but it's still a four banger. Um, Looks like someone got sideswiped. That was the reason for the traffic, or at least some of the traffic. Yeah, you'll hear me grinding gears every now and then. I'm not perfect. So, fueling up this bad boy, I mean, expensive. So, fuel's expensive, insurance got way more expensive, um, maintenance is expensive. There is nothing cheap about driving a truck. But again, like I said, pay is good, and you generally take as much care as you can of your truck. Because I mean, it is your moneymaker. Even if you're just a driver or an owner operator, I mean, if you are just a driver and you mess up the truck, you just messed up a truck that you drive. So if there's no other truck, you're not making any money. So yeah, don't always trust the GPS because it'll get you in trouble sometimes. whether it's, no truck route kind of thing, or if it's, uh, it doesn't tell you that it's under construction, or you kind of start remembering patterns like, there's going to be construction that didn't put it on the GPS. So let's, get off and exit earlier so we can make our delivery on time. So, you know how the cable company tells you, yeah, we'll be out there from 8 to 4. Yeah, we can't do that. We don't do that. We usually give you like a 2 hour window. Like, we'll be there between 8 and 10, 10 and 12. But for the most part, we're always there at the hour mark. So 8 to 10, it's like 9 o'clock, but it gives us that leeway so that we can go ahead and, not have somebody calling us like we'll be there at 8, between 8 and 9, and it's, 8:59, and they're like, "Where are you?" So you never know. You might have to stop by for diesel. You might have to change a tire. You might have to do something that, stops you from completing that delivery at that set schedule. So the 2 hour window is perfect for us. It's not impossible, but every once in a while, something happens that's out of our control. Last time, a radiator cracked. So, well, radiator hose cracked. So then we were shut down for a bit until we could get that fixed. We do have other trucks, so if we can, we'll just jump on the other truck. If we can't, then we have to wait for it to get patched up. The worst thing I've had happen to me, was a blowout on the freeway, a busy freeway. It was a front driver side. Wasn't too bad. I mean, it is scary. Your senses all shoot up. Your adrenaline's pumping. You're looking around, so you can go ahead and pull over as much as you can. Um, I'm not a fan of pulling over on the side of the freeway. So once I heard that blowout, I kind of felt that it was still on the rubber, so it didn't completely come off. So since I felt the rubber, I was like, okay, well, I can drive a little bit further, and I drove to an exit. So that first of all, the guy has, space to change the tire, and second, I'm not endangering anybody, and third, not endangering, myself. The only danger to me, not so much other cars or trucks. I mean, more like, passenger vehicles. Uh, It's another truck. So another big rig hitting me, that's, a problem. If it's, a car, side swiping me, a truck side swiping me, for the most part, they're probably going to bounce off. I mean, they can get stuck underneath. I've seen a lot of accidents. You get on YouTube and Reddit. Oh my goodness. Reddit is not safe for work. Some of it's not safe for life. You hear it and you're like, Jesus, like right here, it's too freaking late for me to stop. There you go. And that's the thing. I was even going slower than speed limit, and I could have. But, eh, generally, you honk your horn and let people know, hey, I'm coming through. There wasn't really many cars. That car was going to turn left, so we're usually fine. We do our best to be safe, to, you and not a fancy word for a warehouse. Um, that is a low fuel indicator. I think that's a lie because that fuel was filled up yesterday. And since it has two tanks, it probably poured a little bit into the other. The main tank is the right tank, the reserve tank is the left tank. So The reserve tank was very full, and the other one was not. We filled it up and let them know so we can get that fixed. But you check your fuel, you check your tires, you do your pre-trip inspection every day. You check your oil, coolant. If everything's good, there's not much else other than driving safe. There she goes again. So these nice sunny days, California dreaming days, really relaxing, really easy to drive. That's gonna get annoying for you guys, isn't it? It's annoying to me already.